Pono Pau taking on Cooper Housley Power Slap number 10, the gift that keeps on giving in the heavyweight division.
Yes,
How
sir.
excited are you to get back up there? Unfortunately, you had some unforeseen injuries in the house that prevented you from moving on and and really capturing your full potential. Now healed, collected, mentally focused. You're ready to go up there and prove that there's another level to your game that we haven't seen.
Yes, sir. Physically ready, mentally ready. Everything's all checked off the boxes. We're good to go. Yep. The main one was time. Just making sure that we make sure we get through every single part of the training process. Make sure that we're prepared because we're not going against somebody that's really light. He's been taking hits. He's been giving hits. So you always got to stay prepared, no matter what fighter it is.
Yeah. I mean, elaborate a little bit on that time. Do you feel like that time in some ways was needed for you to really be able to hone in, all aspects, whether it be mental and physical?
Yes. So with the injury to the hand, it as much as was physical, it really played on the mind. It was more neural than anything. Is that okay? Well, can it move properly? Is it gonna do what it did before? Right? And that just training with the right hand, all my slapping time is been with the right hand. So it's like it has to be where I feel comfortable that the hand is exactly where it was before. And there's small little things that we still got to do, some little fine tuning. But other
Mhm.
than that, the healing process was the main part, and getting the right treatment, doing the physical therapy, and staying on point, being consistent. That was huge. Is that I could have easily given up on the hand and kind of just said, you know what, let's just train more on the left and kind of bring that back. But I knew that the right hand was going to be more of the difference in the fight. Is that I needed to have my main weapon back. You got to have the
Mhm.
long sword and you got to have the short sword. It's you can't have just that one weapon. You got to be able to use it also.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you're speaking like a true warrior. You have to have complete tool chest. Is there any worry at all about re-injuring that hand when you get up there?
A little. It's in the back of my mind, but I try to stay straight on the path, right, and just kind of even with having that in my head, I got to kind of clear that out from time to time. I know I'm always going to go back to the where it feels a little bit nervous and it feels unsure, but I can definitely tell that I've been growing a lot more by
Mhm.
just not having that part where I just immediately submit to the, oh, you're injured. Oh, you're not 100% ready. And now that I'm able to kind of make the mind the controller of everything, right? Because
Mhm.
physical body moving around, I rather have my mind controlling the rest of the body. That's how it's supposed to work, right? Once the body starts making decisions for you, and then you don't have the full potential that you could have. So I need the mind to be right, and I was able to do it. Just putting myself in better places. Always not having the short end of the stick.
Mhm.
I see the opportunities of where the growth is, and I got to just attack it one by one. And that's what it's been since being off of the show, since now making the transition into Power Slap 10. We knew maybe a month and a half ago. And
Mhm.
kind of gave you some of those little silent treatment of like, hey, you know what, let's not put it out into the ethers and put it out into the universe as of yet. But I mean, we were solid and good to go. And now as it gets closer to that time, it was a surprise to me that it wasn't covered like immediately, like how the fights were already coming out. You can see already that we have the top three on the card. Then we had a reschedule, and then filling everybody in from all the season three fighters coming in and really showcasing. And I was sitting there in the back just saying, "Oh man, I know that the fight's there, but
Mhm.
it just started to twist inside. When is it going to come out? When does it come out?" And you know what? Last week of it, and now that part of it's already out there and now put out into the world. Now I just gotta showcase and go out there and really show what I've been working on. Just all the practices, all those long hours, staying in the gym every single day, putting in all those hours on the bag. I mean, now it's that time, and
Mhm.
just like I said earlier, I can't take Cooper lightly. We know what he can deliver. We know how he is on the stage. He's worked out his nerves on the stage now. And now it's Now it's my time to be able to go up there and see how it is, even non-televised, televised, however it plays out. We don't know yet, right? But however it goes, now it's my time to be able to try to figure it out too. So
Yeah, absolutely. In a lot of ways, and I've said this before, on a number of different shows, right now, even we're getting, 6 weeks between events, but with how fast Power Slap is growing and evolving, it almost feels like 6 months. Like, do
yeah,
you feel that that's the same way that the sport is just progressing so quickly right now from event to event, month to month? It seems and it feels like it's a longer period of time than it actually is in time in real life, obviously. Like, do you kinda get that same feeling?
I do. I do. Yeah, and the spacing between things. I mean, it's what, every 2 months. There's
Mhm,
going to be a power slap event. The season is going to be shut down for what, 3 months in total. So the time wise, it just seems like it's really stretched out. But I mean, the promises of 2025 becoming 7 events, 8 events, maybe even more. Just like when you
mhm,
interviewed Dana, and he was able to speak on how many more events that he wants to throw and how many things are going to be happening. I mean, the progression of the sport is insane, and I like it because it started off like this with the UFC, and it was just that slow progression of how things were going, figuring out the rules and doing everything else. But now that they've had that opportunity to work on something of that nature and that beast, anything smaller than that, any event smaller than that, well, they're going to be able to grow it because they kind of worked out all the little kinks. There's still a few fine line things that need to
mhm,
be done, but that's not us to speak on. That's the UFC brass, and that's everybody up there that's working on everything that's going on, and Frank,
mhm,
Dana, and they've got it planned out for sure. We're in good hands when it comes to, oh, is there ever going to be this international events? We talk about it, it happens. you
mhm,
know Now we're having all these other places open up, Florida, and now talks about, but my biggest one is Hawaii. You already know
coming
that
back
for it.
on. Yeah,
I'm trying to see what that looks like,
mhm,
and UFC being out there. So it's a huge thing for us as the culture and Hawaiians, and it's going to be a huge thing for the UFC because that's what
mhm,
everybody loves, and it's going to be amazing. So the growth is
yeah.
there.
Yeah, I mean, in the post-fight press conference that Dana gave in Abu Dhabi, he said 2 things. Obviously, he said, 1, he talked about going to Hawaii being the next place that they're gonna go within the continental USA, with Power Slap. But the other thing that he said, he's actually already done, and that was in regards to the main event being called a draw, and now they've officially changed the rule set in Nevada to be able to add additional rounds to both 3 and 5-round matches should a
Yes.
match end in a draw. So, in quick order, they got that rule updated, which I think from every account, the strikers are absolutely elated for that. And I think the fans are going to enjoy it. I mean, that's ultimately we want. We want a definitive winner. And I mean, nobody likes draws. So
Yeah,
I mean, great
nobody
to see
does.
that. But let's get really focused, hone in here. Cooper Housley, talk to me about him. What do you see in his game?
So I've watched a few tapes, and his Stevie Ray fight was probably the most wicked slap I've ever seen, and
Mhm,
that's where a lot of the studying came from. It's just seeing exactly how he's moving out there, making sure that the biomechanics is right. Right, that's the one main one for me, especially just coming from where I'm trying to look at it from that training point. Is his biomechanics? Does he move
mhm,
properly? Does he shift properly? Is he going to be able to deliver that same power every single time? And I think the main part of that is that, well, this one, because he's so strong, and I'm a strong fighter, it's going to come to that coin toss.
mhm,
It really is. I'm not going to sit here and lie about anything. Once we figure out who has that coin toss, and who goes first, and who gets to knock down the power bar and the life bar on you a little bit, that's
mhm,
that's where it really plays into it. And I think the biggest part of this is going to be the defense.
mhm,
As and I've seen him eat hits before, and I want to go out there and be able to do and showcase exactly what I've been working on too on the defensive side. I've really had to work both sides the whole entire time, trying to really get this thing back on. But now the
mhm,
defensive is probably the key factor of what's going to happen. Do I stand in front of Cooper and be able to take more than 2 rounds, 3 rounds, and go the full distance with him? He's like he's not to be taken any lighter than any other person in the sport. I mean, every fighter out there, you know,
Mhm.
you're going out there and you're taking a slap, so nobody
Mhm.
should be taken lightly at all.
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen the power that he has. We've seen him, also dazed, from receiving strikes. But the one thing that I think is kind of low key in this particular matchup actually is I think you've got a big personality. He's got a big personality. His
That's
wrestling background. I think this has the making of an incredibly entertaining match all the way from the face-offs till the match itself on stage. I think both of you, I think the fans will fall in love with. And I think
hmm
the winner of this will get an opportunity to continue to climb the ranks in that heavyweight division, which is shaping up really well now. I mean, we had Wes Minna, who we've seen in Abu Dhabi with his impressive
love that.
victory,
Amazing.
and then we also had James take care of business in his victory over Nate Bernard. So guys on the
Yes.
show representing very well, obviously adding a ton of new talent. You're one of those rising stars as well in the heavyweight division. And like I kind of led off the top, I feel like there's a whole other level to your game that we haven't actually seen yet. And I think you're going to be able to display that on December 6th. Yeah, in Power Slap. I know you're not too far away. You're in California. Are you planning to bring anybody with you to Vegas, or is this going to be purely a business trip and you're going into battle alone?
It's a business trip for sure, but I'm even with the business trip, I still have to bring my people. I always have to have some supporters and the people that ride or die for me. So my wife is showing up. She's going to be in the crowd. She's going to be there the whole entire time. And then I got some of my good Christian fellowship, my brother and his spouse coming out there and kind of hanging out and watching the fight too. And I mean it's just been an amazing ride, Corey. And yeah,
Absolutely.
I couldn't put any words to it of how I feel and the emotions and everything else, and the real connection back to the man above is what's really driving the ship. So
Um,
yeah, when we go out there, it's going to be
absolutely.
all that.
Absolutely, my man. I mean, you have a week to pull it all together. You're going to have a phenomenal ride as you go into it. But one more question for you. Cooper Housley's watching this interview. What do you want to say to him?
I love you, brother, and it's going to be amazing to go out there and stand on the stage with you and share the stage with you. It's like I only could see the best things from you just watching videos and really studying the craft. Like it's gonna be a hell of a fight, brother.
All right, my man. Appreciate you. Look forward to seeing you there in Las Vegas. Hopefully, we can get you on our live show as well. That's taking place on December 5th at Stadium Swim. I want to see you there. I want to see you loud and proud, my man. Appreciate you. Thanks for joining.
Yes, sir. Love you, Corey.